Alright, so this is a demo of my player turn order management system. This is for use in board games, and the idea being is each player would get one of these modules, assigned to them kind of before we start. And the number's kind of not relevant to turn order. It's more relevant to just make a unique address for the box. But these are fully wireless. There's a lithium battery inside. It's charged by the USB port on the bottom. Little on-off switch on the side. If I turn it off and on, it'll reboot and it should resync with where it's at. And it did. And the idea being is, each player would, like I said, each player would have one of these. And when it's your turn, the light is green and it tells you that it's your turn. If it's yellow, that means you're next. So it kind of means get ready, start thinking about your turn if you haven't already. And even tells you when you're next. Piece of information that's on the screen. The top item is what player you are, number 4, which is also, like I said, printed on the box. What player it's currently at. So it's currently at number 1 down here, like we said. And how many are ahead of you. So this player has 3 people until it's their turn. And so that dynamically updates. I currently have it set to 5 players. I can adjust that. I'll turn it up to 10. And there's a bug there. It looked like it went to player 10 instead of staying on 1. I maybe look into that. But now all the player count has been updated to 10. And so when it gets to the end, it'll wrap around. The other thing I should know is right now I'm controlling it through the control box. I have the ability to move forward or back up turns from the control box, but it can also be done via the boxes themselves, which I'll show here in a second. So when it gets to the end, obviously it wraps around, so it's player 10's turn, player 1 will be next. Once they go, it'll now be player 1's turn, with player 2 next. The buttons on the units themselves are locked out unless it's your turn. So everybody else, their button does nothing at this phase. Even the next player does nothing. But for the player whose active turn it is, when they're done, they can press their button and it'll advance the turn. So it prevents anybody fidgeting or playing with the buttons. They can't do anything unless it's their turn. They press their button, it advances. And like I said, if somebody accidentally passes their turn too early, I can back it up. The other thing I built in is a sleep mode. So say we all have to walk away, we're gonna, food arrived, we're gonna just take a break and go eat some food or something. If I double click the middle button on the hub, it puts them all into sleep mode. So it turns off all the lights and it dims the screen and puts it into like a screensaver style mode where it shows the battery voltage percentage, and it just cycles around to reduce wear on the OLED. And it's doing that on all the units. When I come out of sleep mode, I double click the button and it should pick up right where it left off. So right there, player 2. The last thing I built into it is a start player selector, or a random shuffle. So if I press and hold the middle button, it'll do an animation. This is just for looks, but it'll settle on a number. And in this case, it picked player 1 to be the start player. And so at the beginning of the game, when you're trying to figure out who should go first, this is a way to do it among the available players. Oh, I picked 1 again. What are the odds? Let's see. Yeah, so this time I picked player 5. Yeah, so that's kind of an overview of that. Like I said, they all have a lithium battery inside. In my testing and some math, the battery should be good for at least 10 hours, if not 12. It really depends on how much they're being used. Like if the light's on a lot, that'll obviously wear a little quicker. But even in worst case, it's probably about a good 10 or 12 hour time. So it's enough for most game sessions. So yeah, that's kind of an overview of my player turn order management system. Like I said, they all have lithium batteries in them. They're wireless. The range on them is good for, like, in theory, a couple miles. So walking through your house or walking through your game space or even at a convention, they should be able to get signal and be able to lock onto the player. And then the hub unit is very much just a bigger version of the smaller units without the light. On-off switch, turn it on and off. And that's really it. So, yeah, there you go.